Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 21 based on novel. So let's start. To refine medicine pills, the key is to first melt many medicinal materials into piles of pure liquids through the catalysis of flames, and then perfectly fuse various medicinal powers. This fusion needs to be maintained at an extremely delicate level. It is precisely because of this that soul power can become the most critical thing that depends on the achievement of an alchemist. Such a change in this time was somewhat unexpected to Xiao Yan because his previous steps were completely in accordance with the prescription without the slightest error, but in the end there was still a problem. Obviously, these steps in it, there is something that he has not grasped. The previous Xiao Yan also did not know which step had gone wrong, but when the flames burst into his eyes, he suddenly realized that the problem was not in the medicinal liquid he extracted, but in the drop in the scarlet blood and the medicine powder that was transformed by the dragon blood vine. This drop of scarlet blood is extracted from the bloodthirsty dragon lizard in the ruins, and the violent energy contained in it far exceeds the requirements for refining the consolidated essence pill. The power of ferocity, the power of the two medicinal materials, Shuigaoshi and Qingmuguo alone, cannot be completely reconciled. That is to say, the power of blood is too strong, and the power of medicinal materials is too weak. A balanced point? Moreover, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard also possesses the power of the blood of the dragon. Even if it is insignificant, it is the blood of the genuine dragon family. Synonym. And the dragon blood vine had also been bathed in dragon blood, so the real problem was that the breath of the silk dragon bloodline on the two was activated when Xiao Yang's strange fire refining, and now the two have just touched, the breaths in it are incompatible with each other. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard left on the scarlet blood contains the blood of the dragon family, and the dragon blood vine also has the blood of the dragon family. The two have produced a very violent exclusion. I figured out the problem, but Xiao Yang's frowning brow still haven't been stretched out. If the power of blood cannot be reconciled, then the only way is to change the blood of beasts. But Xiao Yang's hands now, apart from the scarlet blood of this bloodthirsty dragon lizard, no other blood essence was prepared. In this case, the only choice is the former. Xiao Yang looked at the inside of the cauldron, surrounded by many spikes of blood essence like a hedgehog, and the red powder of dragon blood and fairy vine exuding a layer of light shield, with a thoughtful look. Thoughts flashed in his heart. Xiao Yang's eyes were also slightly condensed, and with a wave of his palm, the numerous light clusters that were staying in the air were sucked into the medicine cauldron by them, and milky white flames swept through them. In just a few minutes, those medicinal materials were slowly refined and fused into a drop of light blue liquid under Xiao Yang's subtle control. Xiao Yang stared at the drop of blue liquid infiltrated with some gentle power, and with a finger, the latter slowly descended, and immediately fell into the scarlet blood that was churning more and more violently on the surface and the powder that turned into powder. Among the dragon blood vines. This drop of liquid containing the power of the essence of many medicinal materials, after falling into the scarlet blood and powder, the gentle power contained in it did indeed play an immediate effect. Slowly retract into the body. Looking at this scene, Xiao Yang also breathed a sigh of relief, but the moment the breath just came out of his throat, it suddenly solidified because he clearly felt that there were two faint senses of coercion, slowly from out of that drop of scarlet blood and powder. Ho ho ho! On the powder of scarlet blood and dragon blood vines, there is a slightly illusory miniature dragon shadow entrenched. A hostile dragon roar resounded inside the wooden house. As soon as this feeling of coercion appeared, it caused Xiao Yang's vindictive energy to stagnate a little. Immediately, the scarlet blood and powder that had just finally calmed down seemed to boil. The madness surged up, and a violent force that made one's complexion change slightly rose rapidly in it. The sudden change also caused Xiao Yang's complexion to change. Those two dragon roars that permeated from the blood and powder, even with Xiao Yang's concentration, there was a moment of shock. What's going on? The Golden Dragon King was obviously not an expert in refining medicine, but when he saw the two miniature dragon shadows in the cauldron, he asked with a little understanding. There is something wrong with the fusion of that drop of scarlet blood and the dragon blood vine. Xiao Yang also said solemnly. Xiao Yang's eyes were also fixed on the drop of scarlet blood and red medicinal powder at this moment. The biggest problem really came from here. Yu glanced at the wooden hut and a dignified flash flashed in her eyes. Judging from this sense of coercion, the master of this blood essence must have been extremely terrifying when he was alive. Ferocious beast, where did Xiao Yan get the blood of such a high-level beast? I don't know where this little friend Xiao Yan got the blood of the demon beasts, but it contained such coercion. As far as I know, among some powerful demon beast families on the Xianling continent, every clan, since he was born, he has owned a spiritual tablet. In the spiritual tablet, there is a strand of remnant soul. As long as this strand of remnant soul remains, then the bloodline in its body will not be obtained by others, and once it is incarnated. When the monument is broken, the clan members die, and the clan will send strong men to recover their bones. Yu reading will definitely not be obtained by the outside world. This is quite similar to the current scene, but how can it appear here? This kind of magical beast with a spiritual tablet? On the pavilion, Yu also noticed the changes in the wooden house where Xiao Yang was, and murmured in her heart with some doubts. This beast was discovered in the ruins, and it contains a trace of the blood of the dragon family. Its strength during his lifetime should have been at the peak of the 4th grade emperor, and the level of breaking through to the 5th grade emperor. The beasts of this level can only rely on a drop of blood essence can exude such tyrannical coercion. It seems that this beast really deserves to be a monster with dragon blood. You said softly. It's normal in the ruins. Yu was also surprised. After all, there are many treasures and monsters in the ruins, and it is reasonable to have such a powerful monster. Then let's watch it here. It's really impossible to take action. Yu also said, because everyone knows that pharmacists can only rely on themselves to refine medicine pills, and others can't help. Yeah. Yu also bit her lips slightly. Xiao Yang's eyes flashed a little light. The scarlet blood and the dragon's raw coercion emanating from the medicine powder constantly resisted the neutralization of the power of many medicinal materials. Two arrogances remain. One originates from the bloodline. This arrogance does not allow it to succumb to its own kind, let alone be refined into a medicinal pill for people to absorb. No matter how tyrannical you were when you were alive, but now, it's just a thing without a master. I still don't believe it. I really can't conquer you. A trace of anger was aroused by the constant resistance in the medicinal powder of the scarlet blood and dragon blood fairy vine. Xiao Yang snorted coldly, and flicked his fingers. The medicinal herbs fused by the two medicinal herbs of Shui Jiaoji. The power appeared in the hand, on the palm of the hand, and the flames were tumbling, and they were directly thrown into the flames. The degree of resistance between these two is far beyond Xiao Yang's expectations, but it can also be seen that the energy contained in them is so majestic. I am afraid that its quality will reach a very high level. Thoughts rolled in his mind, and in the flame in Xiao Yang's palm, a drop of blood-red liquid also flew out of the medicine cauldron and then emerged. I can't believe I can't cure you. Looking at the drop of blood-red liquid, Xiao Yang gritted his teeth and flicked his fingers. The latter turned into a red shadow and plunged into the medicine cauldron, trying to neutralize the battle between the scarlet blood and the powder. The blood-red liquid was refined by Xiao Yang to neutralize the energy of the two. The blood-red liquid fell into the scarlet blood, and the violent power of the latter was also slowed down. Xiao Yang's repeated offenses, the pressure that permeated from the blood became more and more powerful. After arriving, Xiao Yang's eyes suddenly appeared a little dazed. He saw two extremely hideous miniatures sitting on top of each other. The faucet head threw out from the medicine tripod and slammed into him fiercely. After a short fight, the dragon shadow on the blood essence and the dragon shadow on the dragon blood vine seem to have reached an agreement, and they also know that Xiao Yang is trying to control and fuse them. The illusory dragon head of the two just wanted to whistle at Xiao Yang. He left, but did not leave the medicine tripod, and was intercepted by the overwhelming milky white flames. But even so, there was still a low muffled groan in Xiao Yang's throat. Immediately, he was slightly horrified to find that his soul power had actually weakened a little. Taking a deep breath, the shock in Xiao Yang's eyes became more intense. The refining of Guban Peiyuan pill was also interrupted at this moment because of the ***** dragon blood in the two bodies, and the trace of dragon blood could not be expelled. Refining was successful. You can never get rid of that confrontation with drugs like this. Since it contains the aura of the blood of the dragon family, then it is natural to use the most direct method. The Golden Dragon King noticed the change in the tripod from the moment the miniature dragon shadow appeared, but he also wanted to see what Xiao Yan could do. Looking at Xiao Yan, who was in a hurry, he rolled his eyes at him and said crisply. Hearing this, Xiao Yan was also stunned, and immediately gave a wry smile. Now he only knew that if he didn't remove the coercion in his blood, these extremely hard-to-find medicinal materials would be wasted in vain. Roar? The Golden Dragon King finished speaking, and a low dragon roar lingered in the small wooden house, and the dragon's roar did not go out for a long time. With the appearance of this faint dragon roar, there seemed to be a moment of silence in the wooden house. Immediately, Xiao Yan was shocked to realize that the dragon fighting against each other in scarlet blood and red powder shadow energy is rapidly dissipating like remnant snow meets boiling water. Staring at the changes in the medicine cauldron in a stunned manner, because the power of the soul is all over it, Xiao Yan can feel more clearly that the confrontation between each other is rapidly dissipating. The fright of a king. In just a few short breaths, the pressure that gave Xiao Yan an incomparable headache disappeared completely. This change made him stare blankly at his master, the Golden Dragon King, who was floating in the air. Full of doubts and curiosity. Why are you standing still? Rongdan, I'm not a pharmacist. The Golden Dragon King roared at Xiao Yan as if he was nothing. Hearing that, Xiao Yan also suppressed the shock in his heart, and then looked eagerly at the calm 5 groups of light in the cauldron. Snow Cream Ji, Greenwood Fruit, Dragon Blood Fairy Vine, Magic Core, and Blood Essence. 5 groups of rays of light dimmed under the roar of their master, the Golden Dragon King, and did not dare to resist in the slightest. With the coercion in the blood, he was expelled. The medicinal power of Shuigaoshi and other medicinal materials was slowly released, and then slowly merged with the majestic power in the blood, and then began a slow fusion. With the help of the dragon roar of his master, the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yan barely managed to pass this level. Although it was quite thrilling, it was not that he did not gain anything at all. The energy contained in the medicinal liquid today is quite high. After all, it contains not only the blood of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard, but also the rare dragon blood vine and many precious medicinal materials of greenwood fruit. On the basis of a higher level. After helping Xiao Yang to solve the remaining dragon shadow, the Golden Dragon King never disturbed him. After all, the fusion of medicinal pills also requires concentration, but he still glanced at the tumultuous medicinal liquid in the medicinal cauldron with envy. After that, he just smacked his lips. With a movement, Zaidu returned to the ring. Alchemist is the most popular profession. Who doesn't want to be a pharmacist who everyone competes for? However, the Golden Dragon King also knows that he can't come out as a pharmacist because of his race, so he is not addicted to it. But the dragon roar he just released. It's better to avoid it, or it will be discovered. The Golden Dragon King muttered to himself, then returned to the ring. This roar is comparable to that of a real dragon. It seems that the dragon blood of this monster is very close to the real dragon. Even if the Golden Dragon King deliberately suppressed the roar, you caught it, but you imagined the roar as a monster. Now that the problem has been solved, the next refining is only a matter of time, right? If this kid can really refine the first-order imperial medicine pill at one time, it would be really incredible. As far as I know, even some imperial pharmacists have a high failure rate when they try to refine imperial medicinal pills. Yu smiled as she looked at her worried daughter beside her. Hearing what his father said, the surrounding elders also smiled and nodded with a deep understanding. For them, the imperial medicine pills almost belong to the legendary level. Taking it, even the number of times I have seen it with my own eyes, is only a handful. After all, in this Qingcheng, the alchemists who are capable of refining imperial medicine pills can be counted with one hand, and every time they make a shot, they will be counted. The price is quite high. The imperial medicinal pill has not appeared for many years. Even the current president of Qingcheng's Alchemist Association has never refined an imperial medicinal pill in recent years. Guaranteed 2 changes today. Added 3 more. When everyone in the lobby outside the wooden house was also relieved, Xiao Yang's mind was once again condensed in the medicine cauldron, and all the soul power poured in, the fire of the flame and the various reactions produced by the fusion of various medicinal liquids, all are in the mind. Inside the medicine cauldron, a milky white flame envelops a mass of liquid about the size of half a fist. This mass of liquid is slightly colorful, but in general, it is still mostly dark red, but among the dark red, it seems to have a good effect. Several kinds of energies that cannot be colored are merging slowly with it. The soul force felt the calm in the liquid. Xiao Yan was also slightly relieved. After the previous incident, the latter things became much more stable. Looking at this appearance, as long as all the medicinal power in it is completely after the fusion, it can gradually condense into the prototype of the medicine pill. Of course, this is a rather slow process. According to Xiao Yan's expectations, this fusion time, I'm afraid it will take at least 5 days. Taking a slow breath in his heart, Xiao Yan's eyes slowly closed, and a trace of his mind moved Fen due to absorb the energy of the surrounding heaven and earth. The soul power was still hovering in the medicine cauldron, controlling the heat and the power of various medicines. The fusion of. Now all he needs to do is wait quietly. And this is a full 6 days. In the past 6 days, the crowd that originally gathered to watch the fun in the Yu family gradually dispersed, but when almost everyone came out every day, their eyes were involuntarily cast into the wooden house in the backyard. Looking at the radiant wooden houses with huge soul power, all have some admiration. Because the person in the wooden house was also named as a guest by their Yu family patriarch. In this Do-D continent, which is also dominated by strength, a pharmacist with the rank of emperor is also enough to have this kind of treatment. In 6 days, almost everyone was used to the explosion and the dragon roar before the wooden house. They didn't know how long it would take for the big man inside to concoct alchemy, but after seeing this alchemy vision with their own eyes, I can't help but slap my tongue, seeing that the medicinal pills refined by this movement are obviously not low rank. No wonder the more high-quality medicinal pills are so precious. I didn't expect that just refining, it is so troublesome and cumbersome. Within 6 days, you and the others would habitually stay outside the wooden house for a period of time. First, it was to prevent Xiao Yan from having any needs and to replenish them in time. Second, they wanted to witness this imperial medicine pill with their own eyes. Was born, and then saw that Xiao Yan remained motionless and just left slowly. In the past few days, Xiao Yan's breath has gradually become vague, and even that breath has become extremely light, and it looks like a Buddha who is about to be seated, and the breath is vague and uncertain. If it wasn't for Yu's extraordinary knowledge and knowledge that he must concentrate on refining high-level medicine pills, he also knew that he was in a very focused state at the moment, otherwise he would be a little worried about whether this guy had something wrong in the medicine refining process. Although Xiao Yan fell into silence like a monk entering into meditation, the medicine cauldron in front of him was like thunder in the sky. The rumbling sound resounded non-stop, and an extremely terrifying soul force kept swimming back and forth in it. Movement, combined with the power of the 5 medicinal materials, whistling and circling in it, under this soul power, even if it is a strange fire, it can only be obediently let it be directed. 6 days passed slowly. Just as the morning of the 7th day came, a ray of sunlight broke through the shackles of the earth, shot out from the mountains far away, and shone on the wooden house. Under the warm sunshine, Xiao Yan, whose eyes were tightly closed for 6 days, also slowly opened with a slight trembling. The dark eyes, under the sunlight, reflected some dazzling luster, and at this moment, the silent aura, like an awakened sleeping lion, slowly permeated from Xiao Yan's body. 6 days ago, it was actually much more refined. If Xiao Yan in the past was in the early stage of the 3-star peak, then now he is standing at the 3-star peak level, and breaking through to the 4-star level is only a short distance away. The previous retreat only restored Xiao Yan's strength, but this time's alchemy seems to have given Xiao Yan a great benefit. Feeling the aura emanating from his body, Xiao Yan was also slightly startled, and a look of contemplation flashed in his eyes. These few days, he has indeed been in a state of concentration. After all, this time he made pills. Medicine can only succeed and not fail. The extremely complex fusion of the 5 medicinal powers in the medicine cauldron was not only condensed by him, but there was not even the slightest waste of useless consumption. Originally, according to common sense, the success rate of the condensed yuan pei yuan and refined this time would not be too high because not only there are many cumbersome procedures, but also the blood essence that is several times more tyrannical, and even the dragon blood fairy vine and warcraft essence later. Blood clashes. In this way, it is almost completely inconsistent with the prescription configuration. You must know that even if there is a lack of an inconspicuous herb in the prescription, it may cause the failure of alchemy. After all, every prescription, it was only after countless experiments by predecessors that they succeeded, and future generations want to tamper with it out of thin air. The difficulty can be imagined. His eyes slowly turned to the medicine cauldron, looking at the purplish-red medicinal pill prototype wrapped in flames. A relieved smile appeared on Xiao Yang's face. The prototype of the medicinal pill was about the size of a longan, the whole body was purple-red, and the surface was pitted and looked extremely unsightly, but Xiao Yang was able to feel the majestic pure medicinal power from it. This kind of power has the opposite effect of improving one's cultivation talent. Miracle effect. As we all know, a person's cultivation talent and potential are innate. Although this does not determine a person's future height, there is no doubt that if you are born with a strong talent and potential, your cultivation will definitely be very good. However, it is extremely difficult to improve talent and potential. However, this so-called consolidating foundation and nourishing essence can be achieved. This alone is worthy of its imperial reputation. The basic form of the medicinal pill has been completed. The next step is the last step of the pregnancy pill. Obviously, there are not many obstacles in this step, because within the preliminary form of the medicinal pill, all the medicinal powers have been perfectly integrated. That is to say, even if this last step is not passed, the effect of this medicine pill will not be too bad. Of course, as a pharmacist, it is natural to pursue perfection, so Xiao Yang did not omit the last step. The milky white flame gradually weakened, and then a faint temperature was emitted, slowly infiltrating into the prototype of the medicinal pill. The last step of the pregnancy pill didn't last long. About 10 hours later, in the flames, the pothole-shaped pill was completely transformed into a thumb-sized pill, one red and one purple. The purple-red two-color, like a Tai Chi gossip, is outlined on the surface of the medicine pill, and it looks like it possesses some spiritual wisdom, which is extremely miraculous. At the moment when the medicinal pill was just formed, the sky where the Yu family was located suddenly became dark, and heavy dark clouds quickly condensed on the sky. Wander around like a snake. This scene that suddenly appeared in the sky made everyone in the Due family stop and stare at the overlapping dark clouds in the sky. After a moment, they were all in a good mood, and their eyes suddenly turned to the direction of the wooden house in the backyard. At this moment, above the wooden house, a shadowy figure stood with his hands behind his back, staring at the changes in the sky without fear. In the quiet hall, the faint fragrance of flowers lingers, and several people are also laughing about the family affairs. Yueru is also sitting in the hall, but her delicate cheeks are already full of impatience. He's been in the wooden house for more than 10 days, why hasn't he recovered yet? After sitting for a while again, Yueru finally jumped down uncontrollably and said, "Alchemy is time-consuming, so I can't be in a hurry." Yu put down the yellowish-colored book in her hand, glanced at the direction of the wooden house, and said, "Wait a little longer, it should be faster." "Already? You have said this sentence almost 10 times. Yueru pouted and muttered, and had to sit back in the chair again, but just as she sat down, the whole room suddenly trembled violently. One time. The sudden fragrance and thunder also made Yu and Yueru slightly startled, and then their eyes moved to the direction of the wooden house, where an abnormally strong energy fluctuation was rapidly taking shape. It seems that alchemy is going to be successful. Feeling the strong energy fluctuations, Yu's eyes flashed with joy. Although he is not a pharmacist, he has been well informed over the years. Naturally, he knows that some high-level alchemy, when the medicine takes shape, there will be some movement. Imperial medicine pill, is it going to be born? Xiao Yang, he actually succeeded. Yueru raised her head and looked at the dark clouds in the sky. A trembling excitement quietly grew in her heart. Be careful, don't let people come to disturb you. There are many people around Qingcheng, and there are many strong people. The movement here can't be hidden from everyone. Yu said solemnly. However, as soon as his voice fell, the energy fluctuations in the wooden house suddenly skyrocketed to a terrifying level. Immediately, only a bang was heard, and an energy beam of about several feet was shot directly from the wooden house, and finally pierced the ceiling and shot into the sky. Looking at the beam of light that pierced the ceiling and rushed into the sky, even Yu's face changed slightly, and she frowned slightly and whispered, "What kind of medicinal pill is Xiao Yan refining? It's so big, it seems that the entire Qingcheng has to be disturbed." "Father." At the end of the words, Yu's words were full of coldness. Hey, since that dark disease possessed me, I haven't shown up for a long time. I have to show up to frighten those old monsters with bad intentions." A cold light flashed across Yu's grey-purple eyes. This kind of movement will definitely attract the peeps of some 4-star Do Emperor powerhouses. If any old man is immortal if he interfered with his heart ruthlessly and casually, it would probably cause a lot of damage to Xiao Yan. The voice fell, and Yu's figure moved, and she disappeared into the room strangely. When she reappeared, she was already on the roof, her indifferent eyes, and slowly swept towards the surroundings. Just as Yueru and the others had expected, the beam of light that suddenly shot up into the sky almost immediately caught the attention of many strong people in Qingcheng. They felt the pure energy contained in the beam of light. The young people were all astonished, and immediately swept out of the room. In less than a minute, in an attic outside the wooden house where Xiao Yan was, the buildings outside the attic and the treetops, it was full of people standing there. With close viewing, some powerhouses finally recognized the source of the beam of light, and exclamations resounded. "It should be that kid Xiao Yan who looks at it. He wants to see him for a few short days, but his refining skills have improved." In a sophisticated room of the Refining Medicine Association, a white-haired old man looked at him. The moon's soaring beam of light muttered to herself. Xiao Yan's special flame by Ruoke remembered very clearly. The beam of light is filled with danxiang, and it seems that someone is refining elixirs in that room. Although high-level medicinal pills can cause some movement, unless it looks like an imperial medicinal pill? Could it be by Ruo from the Alchemist Association? As more and more powerhouses appeared around the pavilion, the whispers became more and more. Some people who heard these words looked at the beam of light with a touch of greed gradually, which could cause this kind of greed. A moving medicinal pill is by no means an ordinary thing. "Call out!" The sound of breaking wind suddenly sounded, and then some figures flashed over, and finally suspended in the sky, looking at the beam of light rising into the sky with amazement. "I didn't expect that there are such masters of medicine refining in this Qingcheng. I really don't know who is the holy person who refines medicine pills." On one place, more than a dozen figures stood in the air, and a bald leader said in surprise, "Yeah, looking at this movement, I'm afraid that the medicinal pill will soon reach the 9th grade level. Even I can't refine it." Beside the bald head, a man's face was full of solemnity. The bald head frowned slightly, but shook his head slightly, and his eyes swept over the burly man in the sky again. For some reason, the latter always gave him a faint sense of danger. "I didn't expect Lian Yu, the old guy you also came out, but this time it was a little troublesome to snipe Xiao Yan." Mueller slowly retracted his gaze and frowned. According to the news they received, Xiao Yan had been living in the Yu family since the ruins came out. Since Mueller was injured by Xiao Yan in the ruins, Mueller has held a grudge. Later, when they encountered a mysterious white robe, they had no chance of being with that great fortune. With his father and a group of people preparing to find the place. "Just kill him together." The grey-robed man's sleeves trembled slightly, and his indifferent voice drifted out, "I am more curious about who this alchemist is, and he can refine this kind of elixirs. Presumably, Baisu of the Alchemist Association, who is in the Alchemist Association, is not too arrogant. When did this Qingcheng have such a level of alchemist? However, this person dares to concoct alchemy in such a place. I think he should be at the critical moment of becoming alchemy. If he is disturbed at this time, it will be a trivial matter to destroy alchemy, and he will be backlashed." The grey-robed man was hoarse. He sneered in a voice. "What kind of result does father want?" "The soul of an alchemist at this level is probably very strong," Muller said with a cold smile on the corner of his mouth. As soon as Mueller's words fell, a burly figure slowly emerged from the pavilion where the beam of light was located. "Those who are 100 meters away from here, kill." The burly figure appeared, and the indifferent grey eyes slowly swept around, and finally paused in certain directions. Immediately, a cold shout resounded through the sky. Immediately, the strength of UEU 5-star Do D was revealed. "It's troublesome." The man in grey also looked solemnly at UU in mid-air. Boom boom boom. Within the U family compound, thunderclouds continued to appear in the sky above it. As soon as the shouting sounded, a majestic momentum suddenly swept out from the burly body, and feeling the tyrannical degree of this momentum, the expressions of the people present suddenly changed, and the sound of voiceless continued. "Get up! 5-star Do Di powerhouse." Losing his voice, he felt the cold killing intent that pervaded the air. Many people felt a chill in their hearts and hurriedly retreated. How is that possible? I didn't expect that this old guy's hidden disease is actually healed. This is a real 5-star duty powerhouse. Feeling the majestic aura, the man in grey couldn't help but be a little stunned. It can also be regarded as having a few sides. But this month's family master is a genuine 5-star duty powerhouse. I heard that this guy had suffered from a dark disease before, and his strength was not as good as before, so he dared to bring his son and come to the Yu family to find Xiao Yang in order to avenge the ruins. But now that he has regained his strength, no matter what, it is obviously unwise to want someone under the nose of a 5-star Do Emperor. After all, the head of the Mu family is only in the late stage of a 4-star Do Emperor. Within 10 breaths, get out of here. When the grey-clothed man was horrified, that ice-cold gaze suddenly shot toward him, and the indifferent killing intent in his eyes made the elder of the Gan Mu family feel a little chilled. However, my heart is cold, but with the Mu family's status in this Wu city, although they can't be on an equal footing with Wu Huan's family, when have they been reprimanded like this? Mueller was arrogant, so even so, he never paid attention to the burly person in front of him. After all, he was accompanied by his father, so he was not as full of fear as ordinary people. Retreat first, find Xiao Yang first, then it's not appropriate to fight with her at this time. It's not a wise move to have a grudge against a 5-star fighting emperor. Just when Muller was slightly angry, the grey-robed man, but it's the slow way. Hearing this, Mueller was stunned for a moment, then he had to nod his head, wave his hand, and slowly lead the crowd back. When Mueller heard that the man in grey said so, he solemnly looked at the burly figure in the air, a 5-star duty powerhouse. Even my own father can't handle it. The people around them saw that the Mu family's strong men were immediately dismissed by the Yu family's people, and they couldn't help but smack their lips. The 5-star Do D strong man is really not a fuel-efficient lamp. Xiao Yang, you'd better pray that you don't fall into my hands, otherwise I want you to die very ugly. Mueller was also extremely angrily looking in the direction of the Yu family, and then said viciously. Such a vision that suddenly appeared in the sky also alarmed many people in the Yu family. At the moment, the sound of breaking wind resounded in the sky, and silhouettes flashed out of the Yu family compound, and finally suspended in the sky, full of people. His face was staring at the dark clouds in the sky. Dan Lei. Yu hovered in the sky, looking at the thunder that was moving around like a silver snake in the dark clouds with a solemn expression, and said slowly and solemnly. Beside you are you, and the third elder who took the medicinal herbs were also standing in the air. Under the power of the world, even they felt a faint palpitation. The elders obeyed the order and set up a large formation in the Yu family compound. If Dan Lei falls into the compound, immediately take action. The thick dark clouds in the sky almost enveloped half of the compound. Upon seeing this, he also shouted with a solemn expression. Yes. Hearing Yu's order, the elders in the courtyard did not dare to neglect, they all responded with a shout, and then swept down, and finally scattered in all corners of the inner courtyard, and the vigorous fighting chi burst out from the body, and immediately in the distance, they echo each other. The Yu family members immediately leave the compound and go to the front yard. Don't hang out outside. Seeing that many elders were on call, Yu felt a little worried, and turned her head toward the compound and shouted. Seeing Yu's dignified old face, Even many members of the Yu family were extremely curious about the changes in the sky, but they could only obediently run to the front yard, and then stood at the gate of the Yu family, watching carefully. The thunder that slowly exudes amazing fluctuations in the sky. Some high-grade medicinal pills, once they are born, their mighty power will cause turmoil in the world, and finally a pill thunder will appear. Moreover, the pill thunder caused by Xiao Yan this time is more powerful than any one I have seen before. Alchemist, even stronger. After commanding this, Yu breathed a sigh of relief and raised her head. Looking at the heavy dark clouds that were constantly emitting rumbling sounds, he said slowly, "Patriarch, look. Xiao Yan can take over this pill thunder." The third elder also looked at the young man in black robe standing above the wooden hut with his hands behind his back, and couldn't help but ask a little worried. After all, this is the residence of their Yu family, and this terrifying Dan Lei was careless. Hearing this, Yu was also slightly hesitant, then she shook her head with a wry smile, and said, "I don't know much about this. After all, the Dan Lei I have seen are quite limited, but the one I saw back then was a Dan Lei. It was that pharmacist who had hired 3 strong men with strengths around the 4-star Do Di, just now to resist them. This time, Xiao Yan's pill thunder was obviously stronger. With his own strength, perhaps. It's going to be a little difficult." The jade hand tightened slightly. Yueru nodded silently. The majestic fighting spirit in her body began to flow quietly. She had made up her mind. Once Xiao Yan is out of support, he will take action immediately. "Hey, watch carefully. If the situation is not right, you and I will take action. Although I don't know if Dan Lei can be resisted, no matter what, we can share a lot of pressure on Xiao Yan." Yu also glanced at his daughter, then sighed and said. Yueru lightly tapped her snow-white chin and said, "I trouble father and the third elder." Although Yueru knew that a large part of the reason her father did this was because of herself. During the conversation between the several people, the dark clouds in the sky were getting thicker and heavier. From a distance, it seemed as if they were about to overwhelm the ground, giving people an extremely oppressive feeling. From the perspective of the people in the Yu family courtyard below, at this moment Xiao Yan, there are heavy dark clouds above his head. The huge sound of thunder and the might of the sky made people tremble with fear. Therefore, all the Yu family members and even some elders felt great admiration for Xiao Yan standing on the wooden house without changing his face under such circumstances. "Hey!" The dark clouds filled the air, and suddenly a black thunderbolt with thick arms rushed out of the dark clouds, and the dazzling light made the dark world brighten. Above the wooden house, Xiao Yan raised his head and looked at the thick dark cloud that was almost close at hand. The thundering thunder was like a blast beside his ear, causing a buzzing feeling in his eardrums. This video will end here.